Turning to the latest in Ukraine now, it appears that Russia has launched a long-feared full-scale ground offensive to take control of Ukraine's industrial heartland in the east.
Unconfirmed video released by Russia's defense ministry shows a missile being launched at a building and a building being hit. Russia says 1,260 targets were hit overnight. Ukraine's military says Russian forces are focusing their efforts on taking full control over the Donetsk and Luhansk regions in eastern Ukraine.
Drone video shows a large plume of smoke rising from the Azovstal steel plant, the main remaining Ukrainian stronghold in Mariupol. The local city council says at least 1,000 civilians were believed to be hiding in underground shelters beneath the plant. Russia has been trying to take full control of Mariupol. It would be a huge strategic win because it links territory held by pro-Russian separatists with Crimea, which Moscow annexed back in 2014.
Meantime, a new book out takes a deep dive into what makes Russian President Vladimir Putin tick, giving us some insight really into why money is a major motivation in the Ukraine invasion. Joining us again here this morning on CP24 Breakfast is Bill Browder, author of Freezing Order, a true story of money laundering, murder, and surviving Vladimir Putin's wrath. That title alone, Mr. Browder, is pretty remarkable. And the book, I mean, I read it. It's a breathtaking, gut-wrenching thriller that I think maybe some people would like to read as fiction, but maybe what makes it even more frightening is that it's all true, and it's truly stunning what you saw, what you learned, and what you exposed, and really the experience of Vladimir Putin's sort of power and control on crime. It's just shocking.
Well, it is indeed shocking. It's when I wrote it, I kind of had to pinch myself to say, did this really happen? And because it's so shocking. I mean, there are murders, there are kidnappings, there are poisonings, there are people being thrown off buildings. There are, and this is what the Russians are doing. But in my book, we also talk about a bunch of people in the United States and in Great Britain who are assisting the Russians in doing all this stuff. And basically, what I've learned is that the entire functioning of the Russian government is a criminal enterprise. That the purpose of Vladimir Putin and his other government officials is to steal money and to kill anyone who's standing in the way. And I view the war in Ukraine as really an offshoot of that, that basically after 22 years, the Russian people were getting tired of all this stealing, and Putin needed to distract them, and that's what this war is all about.
Yeah, it's incredible. And, you know, you just talk about a page turner, right? And so I know you've been sort of advising or at least talking to governments about Vladimir Putin based on your experiences with him, you know, exposing, you know, his corruption, like the criminality there. But are the Western sanctions that are being implemented, are they going far enough at this point, or do we need to go further and actually somehow really harm Putin, you know, hit him where it hurts?
We need to go further. Basically, what we need to do is impose a total economic blockade on Russia. What we see happening in Ukraine is unforgivable. It's partially our fault. It's our fault because we didn't come down tougher on Putin when he did similar things in the past. This is not his first invasion. He invaded Georgia in 2008. He invaded Crimea in 2014. This is, you know, we've effectively kind of turned the blind eye to this guy for the last 20 years, and now he's doing this, and enough is enough. We have to just come down on him like a ton of bricks. And the sanctions have been tough, but we need to do more. We need to sanction more oligarchs. We need to stop buying Russian oil and gas. We need to cut off all of Russia's banks from the SWIFT international payment system, because what's happening right now is just a first step. If Vladimir Putin succeeds in Ukraine, we'll be facing him ourselves on the borders of Estonia or Poland or someplace like that.
And, you know, you use the collective we when you talk about, you know, we've sort of watched this happen or kind of ignored what's been happening in Russia, for, you know, with what Vladimir Putin's done for the last couple of decades. You've lived this, though, for more than a decade now, you know, all of what you went through with Hermitage in Russia, et cetera. How do you feel, though, now about, you know, what you've been trying to show the world is all kind of finally being seen, this reality about Vladimir Putin? I'm sure you don't feel vindicated, but what do you feel? What are you hoping that comes from this now?
Well, I mean, it's remarkable because people used to treat me as some kind of extremist. They were saying, yeah, you know, Bill, I mean, we hear you, but you probably got some issues if you're saying all these terrible things about Putin. And I mean, I felt like some kind of weird outcast. And I mean, I kind of, there's definitely no feeling of vindication at all. I'm a feeling of heartbreak, because if people had just wised up to Putin earlier, we wouldn't be in this mess. But I do know that the way out of this, and the way out of it, is completely to emasculate Vladimir Putin to take away all of his ability to wage this war, to stop the funding of this war, which is to stop any money coming into his country. If he doesn't have money, he won't be able to do this war. And that's the duty that we have right now in the international community, and that involves Canada, the United States, the EU, and UK. We have to do everything we can so he has no more money to do this.
Do you see it happening? Do you think it actually will happen?
I do see it happening, not because we have the political will at this moment in time to do everything, but I see it happening because Vladimir Putin is going to do so many more outrageous things in the future that will harden our resolve that we don't have today.
Okay, Bill Browder, author of Freezing Order and Red Notice, just a couple of remarkable books, really give you some insight into Vladimir Putin. Appreciate you joining us once again here on CB24 Breakfast. Have a great day. Good luck with this book, too.
Thank you.